Hi and welcome back to the Bucket List with me, Beth Crystal Wilson, brought to you tonight from the Hepworth in Wakefield, where here's part of our Days Out guide on the bucket list, where we give you ideas of days out within reach of Leeds. I think it's about time we had a look around. Well, Simon, what exactly is the Hepworth Wakefield and how long has it been here for?
It's one of the UK's largest purpose-built art galleries, and it's been here just under 5 years.
Okay, so a big anniversary celebration next year for you guys.
Absolutely, fantastic programme, lots to celebrate given how well used the gallery's been and well received.
Yeah. So back about 5 years ago, what was the idea of developing and creating this gallery?
Well, really very much to celebrate the life and work of Barbara Hepworth and Henry Moore, both of whom came from this district, and to make sure that that work could be put in dialogue with some of the best contemporary artists now working.
The fact that those two artists were from this area and that you've got, the Yorkshire Sculpture Park, you've got the Leeds Art Gallery, that kind of thing, is that one of the main reasons that it was brought to this part of the country?
Absolutely, it's fantastic to have such great near neighbours, all of whom share this common interest in sculpture.
I know the exhibitions change quite frequently, although you do have some that stay here all the time. How do you choose the ones that come along?
We really want to find things that are representing the best art that is currently being made, or the best art that has this interesting art historical relationship to Barbara Hepworth. So it's really about making sure that international excellence is what Yorkshire becomes renowned for.
One of the permanent fixtures is what we can see behind us. Tell us a bit about this work.
Well, this is the gift from the Barbara Hepworth family, and there were works that would have been in Barbara Hepworth's studio in St Ives in Cornwall, and in terms of making sure that the Hepworth Wakefield got off to the best possible start, the family wanted to make sure that they would find a new home in Wakefield, where she was born.
The building itself is quite unique, I think. We've struggled to find our way around some of the time. It is a bit of a maze. Do you think this is one of the attractions itself, that the building as well as the artwork?
Well, I think so. David Chipperfield, who designed this building, is one of the world's great architects, so Wakefield did amazingly to commission him when they did. And I think people really love the fact that you haven't just got a bunch of uniform square boxes. You've got this sort of almost Alice in Wonderland kind of effect of scale shifting from the domestic through to the grand. And I think it's a wonderful building that slows people down having an experience here.
So Lauren, a really exciting temporary exhibition here. What can you tell us about it?
This is an exhibition by the artist Des Hughes. Des is a British artist who's been very, very interested throughout his career in sculpture. And he was invited some years ago to take a look in our archive and make a project in response to something he found there. And he alighted on a project that Henry Moore did for Castleford, which is his birthplace. And in Castleford, Henry Moore made a commission specially for Castleford, which was the starting point for Des. Des worked with local schools to create some of the works in the exhibition, and he's installed 2 public works, one here and one at Castleford Academy, looking at that legacy of Henry Moore and the reclining figure.
And the works we can see here, they are part of this exhibition as well?
They are indeed. These were actually made by school children in 6 local schools. So the artist Des Hughes went to the schools and did workshops with young people looking at the reclining figure, which is a very important motif in Henry Moore's work. So the young people explored what it means to make a reclining figure through using lots of different materials. It was connecting back to the project that Henry Moore did with the children of Castleford in 1980.
Well, what an incredible experience for them to be able to come and see their work here. How have they reacted when they've come along?
People have been very excited to see it, both the young people and their families on the launch event and local people, and everyone who comes through is just flabbergasted to see the quality of the young people's work and their engagement with the project.
Well, if my crazy glasses hadn't given it away, we're now in the learning studios where kids get to interact all the time. You have schools come in here throughout the day, don't you, Victoria?
Oh, absolutely. We're very busy in our learning studios. During the week, we use our learning studios for schools and young people. Lots of workshops every day, lots of visits from primary schools, secondary, colleges, universities. Then on evenings and weekends, we have lots of adult workshops and things for adults and young people.
So tell us about all the different objects and how the kids can interact with these and with the work in the art itself.
Well, this is one of our Explorer backpacks. It's a free rucksack that families can pick up when they come. Just put it on your back and go and explore the galleries. Children become a spy or a secret agent, and they pick up their activity book, and in each of the galleries there's a different mission for the children to solve and find clues, solve mysteries, and you can use all these different objects to look at the artworks in different ways. We have different objects to touch. This really cool mirror helps you look underneath the sculptures and under the artworks. And then you write down all of your answers and you come back down and we give you a sticker and a little prize for completing the spy trail.
So where did the idea come from for this? Was it just, you guys sort of putting your heads together trying to work out how it could be more interactive for the kids?
We really wanted families to have fun upstairs. In the gallery you can't touch many of the artworks. Obviously even clean hands leaves oil on artworks. So we thought about how we could make art fun for children. And I've seen different types of backpacks in different museums and galleries, and I really wanted to explore the idea of children becoming spies and secret agents.
And the workshops you have on the evenings for adults, what do they involve?
We have lots of different workshops that explore the exhibitions and the collections displays. So this weekend we did some wreath making workshops. It's coming close to Christmas, so we had a very festive weekend last weekend. So we develop new workshops to help people engage and explore with the collections displays and the new temporary exhibitions, which you've already seen. So our activities always change, they're always fresh. So every couple of months when a new exhibition opens, we'll have new activities for families, for schools, for adults, for young people, for everyone.
So Rufus, what's a typical day for you working here at the Hepworth?
I suppose with my two different roles that I have here, each day is different. I'm an invigilator of VSA, so that involves talking to the public about the artwork, being like a public face and engaging people with the artwork so they don't feel like they come into a gallery and they can't ask questions. Also, that's complemented by the art pod, which is what we see here. So that happens on a Saturday and on Mondays and Fridays during school holidays, and that's very much more looking at families, how they engage with the gallery.
I can see there's a few different things here that people can get involved with.
Yeah, so this is aimed at years 3 to 12, and there's 3 or 4 activities. So the idea is that families come up here, they're surrounded by the artwork. I give them like a mission, is what I say. Okay. So I give them an activity, they get a clipboard like this, and they go around the gallery and they have to find some art. Right. And most of the time they have to draw from that to get their inspiration. And then they come back here to the art pod and we have a go at making some stuff. The whole idea is that you go around as a family and then you make as a family as well.
Okay.
So sometimes, mums and dads kind of let the kids do it, or sometimes it's the other way around. But it's very family focused. And we often make things that then, once you've made it, you go back onto the gallery space with what you've made and you look at the art in conjunction with what you made. Okay. And the whole idea is that enlightens the artwork for a child.
Yeah. One thing that I noticed about this exhibition is that it's quite different to a lot of the stuff we've seen. We've seen lots of big, bold sculptures, whereas this contrasts quite well with that.
That's right. This is an artist called Gertrude Hermes, and she was a contemporary of Barbara Hepworth's, and sculpture and carving were also very important to Gertrude. But in fact, she was a very active printmaker, and her prints are the thing that she was the best known for in her life. So here we have some of her late linocuts, and they really demonstrate the skill that she achieved in working in print.
And do you think that this has been quite a popular exhibition so far because of that contrast that it creates?
Absolutely. She was a very important artist in her time, but her work hasn't been seen in this volume since near her death. So it's a wonderful opportunity for audiences to see artists working in different ways at the same time. So we love to show the breadth of British artists' work.
And although she was a British artist, she had friends who were very famous across the sea, where you're from, the author of Mary Poppins.
Yes, P.L. Travers was a friend of hers, indeed. And she was also close friends with Henry Moore. He had his honeymoon, in fact, in her back garden. So she was very much part of a circle of active artists, intellectuals, and people at a very ripe time in this culture.
So another temporary exhibition, but completely contrasting with the others. Tell us a bit about this one.
Yes, this is the last in our 3 free temporary exhibitions by the British artist Enrico David. He was nominated for the Turner Prize in 2009, and this is actually his first major institutional exhibition since that point. Okay. This is a fantastic body of new work, and it really shows how the Hepworth Wakefield gives some of the best artists in the country and in the world opportunities to take big steps and risks in their practice.
And 2 rooms with his work, but completely different. These seem to be on a much smaller scale, whereas those, it's a huge room and they completely take it over.
That's right. So Enrico talks about these sculptures sculptures as really coming out of the drawings that you see on the wall, and then he talks about them kind of crawling off the plinth and going into the space over there. So he's really working across a number of different scales and creating different kinds of experiences, from the more kind of classical art gallery experience that you might be used to something that's much more engrossing and really taking over the whole space.
Including some sort of metal-looking balls on the floor, which I know people have to be quite careful not to kick around.
You know, he did that on purpose. He wants you to be really aware of yourself in the space. And so you have to crouch down to look at things. You have to make sure not to kick a ball or trip. He thinks of them almost as kind of hazards that you need to engage with. It's a very physical experience.